Hello everybody, welcome to episode 747 of the carbon fibre hood scoop build. The end is in sight. By the end of this episode we'll have something that looks like nice shiny carbon fibre. So catching you up so far, what I did was I made a blue styrofoam mould, epoxy coated it, lacquered it, waxed it, and then used that to make a gel coat and fibre mould. This bad boy here, known as the birthday cake. This is made of a hard epoxy gel coat so that it's a bit tougher. Again, lacquered it out, polished it up smooth, waxed it so that it would release, which then gave me this carbon fibre bathtub, which when trimmed up is my 13cm Subaru bonnet scoop, which currently needs sanded and polished, which is what we're going to do today. Again, reminding everybody, the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to learn how to do the carbon fibre parts, but also a hood scoop this voluptuous does not exist. I can buy a hood scoop for round about £300 and wait for it, but I'd rather build something than buy something, which is why we even drift a Subaru in the first place, because we could just go buy a drift car. But we'd rather build one. Let me take you on to the next stage, which is lacquering. Oh, this door is blocking the light. Sorry, I'll block that. Let me take you on to the next stage, which is lacquering this thing up and then polishing so that we get a nice shiny carbon fibre part, and then we can all be proud of what we've achieved. My cans of lacquer have been warming up here in the sunshine because when it's warmer it sprays better. I am using an acetone-based clear coat. Bought this from a body shop down in England. Bought it off eBay. They send it up, and then I warm it up and spray paint it with it. However, it is horrible, horrible, noxious stuff, and you have to wear your ear protection or your face protection. Ear protection is not necessary. Sometimes I mix up my words. Might be the chemicals. Now I should try and spray in a dust-proof environment, but I don't have one. I'm in the shed. I'm going to spray on one coat and then get the hell out of the shed and let the fumes settle. Right, here it is. You ready for a transformation? First coat, done. So there we go. That's just lacquered, it's not polished yet. You can see there are some teeny tiny dust particles trapped in there as well. Yeah, I should have cleaned that better before I lacquered it, but hey, whatever. It's looks pretty legit. Right, let's get some polishing on that now. Same as before with this part, although I'm going to use a little bit more gusto. I'm going to use my drill, not the angle grinder at this point. I've got my battery operated drill. I've got an M14 adapter on the top here, and then Velcro sticky polishing pads. I've got a choice of these. So just got my polishing pad. I've got a little bit of water inside the pad, and then I'm going to hit it with this 3M compounding polish, which is one of the more abrasive ones, and it will smooth out the surface. So when you see a scratch or an imperfection in paint, what you're actually seeing is light bouncing in a different direction. So if you've got a perfectly smooth plane of a surface and light bounces and then comes off at an angle, well, if you've got a scratch in it and light comes down and bounces and then scatters, what you see is a white line or a white reflection because the light is scattered rather than just bouncing away from you. That's my hyper simplification of what scratches are in paint. And what I'm effectively doing is sanding those rough edges so that any groove in the paint becomes smoothed, rounded on the corners, and it's less likely to bounce light up. And that will improve the surface of my part here. But I'm quite proud of this already. I know the surface isn't perfect. It's got some dots and stuff that I'm going to have to put out. For a first draft, this is a great result, and I'm proud of that. I'll happily put that on my car. Pleased with that. Right, let me do a bit of polishing. Well kids, basically that is it. That is the end of the project. We now have a finished carbon fibre hood scoop built out of pure shedcraft. It is a third of the weight of the stock part. It is 400 grams instead of 1200, and it is 236% of the size of the original one. I think before I fit it to the car, I'll sand out through this underside a little bit. But all I need to do now is mount that on the bonnet of the Subaru. Now, one of two ways I'm going to do that. Either I'm going to have rivets along this side and just have riv nuts in the bonnet, just drill a little hole and then put my gold titanium screws around the outside to hold it in place. Now these are the big ones, but I've got a bag with an assortment of these jobs, and they are less than half the weight of a steel bolt. Plus they look cool AF. Or maybe I'll just put a bead of Sikaflex or epoxy bond or something like that, and then just plonk it down. And I still have the stock air deflector, if you want to call that, underneath this bad boy. So that's what that's going to look like. So we'll still have the stock air deflector, which splits air into two parts on the air cooler, and we've got on this side here we have the heat escape for the turbo, which is in a blanket now anyway, so there'll be less heat comes up through here. That is what it will look like on front of the car. It's so big it almost warrants having some mesh on the front, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just gonna leave it open, gaping open, ready to hoover up small children at a moment's notice. So that is it. Carbon fibre hood scoop in how many episodes? 17 episode? However many episodes this is. It's in the title. This is how many episodes it took. But that's probably about 35 hours of human labour for me to get it into this point. But I'm very pleased with it. The surface is not perfect, as you can see from some of the close-ups. There's a couple little, there's some dots in there and some places where I didn't clean it properly before I lacquered it. So I'm not going to pretend this surface is perfect, but it is fucking great for a shed job. I'm so pleased with that, that I'm going to go and do more carbon fibre parts, having learned a lot on the way to do this one. So I'll do one more episode, which is like the shortened 5-minute super edit of how to do it, and in that one I'll break down the costs as well of what I spent. But just in materials, you're looking at about £80 to build that, but total outlay is something around 500 for all the tools and stuff that I've had to buy, because you can't just buy exactly this amount of carbon cloth. You got to buy a couple of meters of it. If you get it in the UK, it's like £30 a meter for the cloth. I hope you are impressed. I hope you're as pleased as I am. You can do this in your shed, but safety, like epoxy, is horrible shit. So please be careful with the chemicals. If you're going to do it, get yourself a face mask, use your gloves. Ventilate well. Don't huff the acetone if you're going to be spraying lacquer. Make sure you got good ventilation. I don't want any of you to get poisoning because you're trying to emulate the crazy stuff that I've done. If you enjoyed the video series, let us know in the comments below. Thank you very much for everyone who's commented and hit like and just giving us the encouragement along the way. But that is it. Thank you for watching the mostly final episode of the carbon fibre hood scoop build. You'll see this twice more. You'll see this once in the super edit, and then you'll see it again when I very quickly fit it onto the Subaru. And then of course you'll see it looking pretty much like this in our next drift video, where you won't actually be able to see the front of the car because this massive scoop will be in the way. What a time to be alive. Can't wait to get back out there again and put it to good use. Again, thanks for watching everyone. Look after yourselves, make good decisions. Questions, comments, likes in the boxes down below, and take care.